Get ready, because today I'm going to share with you my exact proven formula for closing clients. So you can go out there and start closing clients straight away. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to share with you my exact script that's allowed me to close 4 clients this month. But first of all, there's a lot of sort of myths around sales, and there's a lot of bullshit out there. And really, the truth is, all this, how you say the word, the tonality, everything like that, tonality is definitely important, but all this sales stuff you see is pretty much bullshit. And the truth is of sales is you need to sell like a doctor. Let me explain. So it can be really frustrating when you're trying to learn how to sell, and it's one of them things where there's no sort of clear-cut path. Well, until now. And, some people say you need to do it like this, you need to do it like that. But the truth is, as long as you can accurately diagnose the prospect by asking them questions and then bridge the gap from where they are now and where they want to be using your product, that is the best way to sell. And it's going to allow you to close so many clients when you get this right. But step number 1. So first off, before you ever jump on a call, there's a few things you need to have in place. So you need to make sure you've got a nice clean background, so make sure your house isn't dirty if they can see it in the back of the camera, if you're doing Zoom calls, which I would recommend. However, if you're on a phone call, this isn't too important. But make sure you're dressed in something smart as well. So a nice little polo or something like that will work well. This just helps you build a bit of credibility and authority, depending on your niche. If the gym owners, this might not be too important, but for most niches, it's nice to look smart. Second of all, make sure that you've got no distractions or noise in the background, so you don't want people walking in the middle of it and distracting you or anything like that. And most importantly, make sure you've got a piece of paper and a pen to write on, because it's very important to write notes on what your prospect is saying, so you can come back to this later in the call. But also, so it looks like you're listening, you're also paying attention when you're writing notes to what they're saying. It's so important that you go into the call with no expectations of closing that call at all. Go in with a clear mind. All you should be doing on that call is just trying to accurately diagnose what their problem is and offering your solution. You shouldn't go in thinking, I'm going to get the no of this person because of this, or I'm going to get the yes because of this. Just go in with a clear mind and expect nothing, and just try your best to accurately diagnose what their issue is and see if you can help. And the thing about that is it's really going to take the pressure off you, and it's going to allow you to act in such a better way and perform a lot better when you take that pressure off yourself. So step number 2, and this is arguably the most important part of sales. So I worked in sales for a very long time, a few years, and there wasn't much that I learned from that job at all, because literally no one knows what they're doing with sales. They think they do, but they don't. But an important part of sales that I did learn is to gain the authority position. So when you come onto a call and you're like, hi there, it's Vaughan from GMA, and you're being dead timid and you sound like a salesman, you're just going to get cut off straight away. You really need to have the confidence to go in on a call, and the confidence comes from the fact that knowing and believing that what you can offer can help that person significantly, and they need you more than you need them. And I know it may not seem like that at first when you're just trying to get clients for your business, but that's the truth. If you genuinely believe in your product, then it's going to allow that client to get amazing results with it. And there's a few tips how you can gain the authority position. And number 1, the best one I like to do, is when they get on the call with you, just say to them, what was your reason for taking this call with me today? As I understand you're a busy person, so what was your reason for jumping on this call? And it makes them think straight away, and it puts you in the authority position as well. And then, you wait for them to answer, and then whatever they say, you can then go, right, okay. So the way this call would usually go is I'm going to ask a few questions, and if it sounds like we're a good fit to work together, then I'll make you an offer. And straight away, this puts you in an authority position, because you're going to make them the offer. So they're thinking, I hope I answer correctly. I hope I give the right answers. I hope he wants to work with me. And this just switches the dynamic of the call completely, and you're going to get such better results out of this. Because you may have had it when people cold call you and they sound, very timid, and they're just you just cut them off straight away because you're in the authority position. You say, no, I don't want to speak to you right now, I'm busy. And when you're in the authority position, people don't want to do that to you, and they don't feel like they can do that to you. So it's very important you take charge straight away. So step number 3, and this is the key to sales. So as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm going to share my secret formula. And the formula to sales is to ask questions that are going to make the person explain where they are right now, all the pain points, everything how they're doing wrong at the moment, make them really dive into that, and then you bridge the gap with your product to the desired outcome. So you've got the current situation of the client and you've got the desired situation of the client. You make them describe the current situation, which is probably not very good because they jumped on a call to solve a problem. So you really prod at them pain points. They might not be happy with the way they're getting clients at the moment. They might not be making enough money. They might not be able to grow. And you really want to let them explain that and really give them reasons to you. And then you would then talk about where the client wants to go. So you talk about, where they're trying to get in terms of revenue, what the goals are for the next 12 months. And then once you've clearly defined the current situation, clearly defined the desired situation, then you can make them an offer with your product and say how you can bridge that gap. And it's so powerful, because when you sell like this, you sound like a doctor. You're asking the questions. If you imagine when you sit there with a doctor, they ask you questions, you just go, okay. And then you ask another question, okay. And at the end, they prescribe you, and you're so happy because you've got the answer, you've got the solution to whatever issue you had. And this is the key to selling. It doesn't matter, all these sleazy sales tactics or words that you say in a certain way. It's literally about taking them from the current situation to the desired situation and bridging that gap with your product or service. Now, step number 4, and this is very important as well, that you don't get caught up in a tangent and you go off track, because I'm going to provide you with a script at the end if you stick around, so you'll be able to stay online with that and, use my exact script that I use. But don't get caught up on tangents, because it's going to take you away from the questions you need to ask. And ultimately, the questions help you lead on to the next question and eventually get to the close. So when you get caught up in a tangent, this can confuse you and you forget about the questions and the call just becomes unstructured. And I can't tell you the amount of times where I've, completely messed up a sales call because I've got off task, asked the wrong questions, the amount of answer questions I was going to ask already, so you're just totally out of order. So when you get an answer from a client, don't be rude, do engage with them and build rapport, so, be likable and funny. But when they ask the question, just say, okay, and, and you write your answer down and you move on to the next question. So it's important you stay on track with that. It's important also that you don't try and solve the problem on the call for the client. You want to agitate them enough for them to take action. So you want to talk about everything doing wrong. You want to give them, give them your offer and what you can do for them, but don't try and solve the issue on the call. Because if you solve the issue, then, they've got no reason to act on it and there's no reason for them to take you on. So it's important that you just give them a little taste of what you can do without solving the whole problem. So step number 5, and this is closing, and this is one of the funnest parts of the call, but for a lot of people it can be nerve-wracking, and they might not clearly ask for the close at all. But to ask for the close, simply you ask all the questions you need to ask, and when you've asked them, you say, right, okay, sounds like we're a good fit to work together, so I'm going to make you an offer. And then you'll say it, as clear as day, say, I charge, whatever it is, £1,000 a month to manage, maintain and optimise the advertisements, and you will also need £1,000 in ad budget for your advertisements, which is not goes to me, that's just purely for your ads. And then just be silent. And what you do here is you use silence as a powerful tool. When you use silence, it makes people feel awkward. It also makes them, they want to fill that gap by saying what's actually on their minds. You really get to see what the client's actually thinking about. And it's important that you don't, after you say you present your price, you don't go in and butt in straight away and start talking over it. You need to wait for them to answer, and they'll either say like, okay, that sounds good, I'd like to go ahead, or right, okay, I need to speak to, my partner, a business partner, or something like that. And if so, if they do come up with an objection, at the beginning it is quite hard to handle objections, say it's your first call, but if you did want to handle that, you could say, you potentially, okay, that's fine, when do you think you'll be ready then? When will you be speaking to your partner, as I can hold this offer for you, the offer not charging any onboarding costs or anything like that, or you could say, for this specific date, we're only onboarding a certain amount of clients. It's important you introduce some sort of scarcity if you want them to act now. Or if they say, I need to think about it, you say, well, okay, well, I'll hold that off until, a certain date. And that's the way to deal with objections. But usually, if you've done a good job of this, you're not going to get any objections. And 80% of the time, I don't get any objections using this exact script. So I think you're going to do very well. And even if you don't close the client and you get some objections, don't worry, because literally until you've done at least 25 or 30 calls, the data is not significant enough to even make any judgments about how good you are. Even though after every call, you should record it and look at it and look for feedback on that call and just get better and better, because that is the key to life, that's the key to business, that's the key to everything, to evolve. You get better by learning and doing things and actually just taking that feedback and evolving, and that feedback loop just gets more better and better and better and bigger, and you're just going to keep getting better at sales. So don't make any judgments about yourself until you've done at least 25 to 30 calls, and then you can start saying, well, I need to change this, or I need to change my offer, or I need to change my service. So just stay persistent, just keep getting them calls booked in, and you're going to absolutely smash it. And as promised, I'm going to share with you my exact script that I use to close clients. So if you want that, I'm going to leave it in the link in the description below, and I hope you enjoyed. And what if there was one thing that I wanted to summarize, would be to sell like a doctor. All you need to do is ask the right questions to make them describe their current situation, how they're in pain, ask the right questions about where they're trying to go, so what their goals are for the next 12 months, what revenue they're trying to get to, and then all you need to do is bridge that gap with your product or service, and you're going to do absolutely crazy with this method. And it's literally the only method you're going to need, because as I said, the rest of the stuff out there is pretty much BS, and it's only going to make a 1% improvement. But the real things that are going to make improvement is building authority on a call, confident and sticking to the script and you asking the right questions to make them describe their current and desired situation. So thanks for watching, everyone. I'm going to be dropping more videos on this. I hope you enjoyed and got some value. If you did, please drop a like and subscribe, because I'm going to be dropping 2 videos a week.
Run that back, man.